What's up, guys? Here with this week's Q&A answers. This will be a little bit shorter one. My training week was disrupted due to my counterpart at work being on vacation, so I didn't really get to train during the middle of the week like I normally would. So let's get right into the questions. How to determine calories needed for maintenance and how to know how many carbs to eat on a refeed day. Okay, so determining maintenance calories, like there's a bunch of different calculators. Those are estimates at best. Just track what you're eating right now and track your weight right now and what happens. If you're gaining weight, cut back on calories. If you're losing weight, add more calories. Bada bing, bada boom. How many carbs to eat on a refeed day? I would just start by doubling whatever your normal carb intake is. And if that doesn't necessitate what you need to necessitate, then increase it. Again, there's no exact number here. It's all going to be fluctuating throughout the time. We don't know, like, oh, I burn exactly 2,000 calories a day. That's not true. Some days it might be 1,900. Some days it might be 2,200. It's just an estimate. They're all estimates. So just like I said, double your carbs on that refeed day, and if it doesn't feel like it did anything for you, fucking next refeed day, triple them. How to get a 2-plate snatch? Buy her dinner. If you couldn't ever flat bench press again, what exercise would you replace it with? 1-degree incline bench pressed. It's pretty easy. What were your biggest lessons learned throughout your beginner, intermediate, and advanced lifting stages? So beginner stages was just to, learning how to work hard and be consistent. Intermediate was learning that sometimes less is more and it's okay to pull back. Advanced lifting stages, I've learned to be more open to new training ideas and listening to anecdotes from other advanced lifters, whether or not there's any sort of science or studies, backing what they're saying. Can high incline barbell bench pressing help strengthen the shoulder joint, ligament, and tendons for overhead press? I mean, yeah, it's going to help. Any pressing is going to help pressing, and the closer the angle it is, the better it is. And using an incline barbell bench, you can certainly put more load than on an overhead press. So I think that is quite efficacious. Have you ever tried decreased range of motion training? If so, did it yield any benefits? Yeah, I've done block pulls. Block pulls was one of the things that got my deadlift out of a rut. I was plateaued for, I don't know, like 2 years on my deadlift. And I had never done any sort of partial range of motion training at all. And when I hired a coach, block pulls were one of the main movements that we implemented. And yeah, I went from a 630-pound deadlift at 288 in competition to a 661-pound deadlift at 270 in competition. Competitions were over a year apart, but that's what initially or finally got me out of that plateau. Let's see. Bending the bar on bench press, yay or nay? It's a pretty good universal cue for getting people to tuck their elbows slightly without saying tuck their elbows. The more you go on, it may or may not be the cue for you on a more individual level. Some people like to say spread the bar. Some people like to say break the bar. I've heard Jimmy Kolb say to envision benching as a triceps extension rather than using the bend the bar cue. And that's something I've started to play with a little bit in training. And it seems to click. The thing with cues are, it doesn't matter what the words in the cue are. It matters how that's communicated between the coach and the athlete. And as long as you two guys know what you're meaning with that cue and that it's working for you, then absolutely. Why won't you get in a bench shirt? What are you afraid of? I like lifting weights. I'm not a circus performer. So there we go. One more. I almost got all the questions this week too. Shit. Peace! Okay, so I'm going to do something I usually don't do. I'm going to add on to the end of the video since I only had one question left. I usually don't even get nowhere close. How much more do you think you could have benched if you didn't go into powerlifting, instead went bench only? I actually don't think I would have. My bench was plateaued when I first started powerlifting, training squats and deadlifts, and that kind of helped push it through that plateau. You know, had I dropped powerlifting maybe like 2 or 3 years into it and just focused on bench, perhaps I would have benched more, but I needed that initial lower body base. And I think that would be for anybody, even if your pursuit is only in like bench only, or you just want to be really good at pressing. I think you should pursue at least a base level of squats and deadlifts, and that's going to be individual for everybody, and not necessarily even like, you know, squats or deadlifts per se, but training your lower body through various compound exercises, but having a base there, because bench press, you know, it is a full body movement at the end of the day when you're trying to move as much weight as possible, and you want all of your musculature to be as strong as possible to facilitate it, and you know, eke out those extra little percentages of strength and power to add to ultimately having a higher ceiling. So I don't think I would have benched more had I never found powerlifting. However, I think if I would have dropped like squats and deadlifts at some point when I was at my peak, at that point I could have maybe benched out a little more. What number, I don't know. It's speculation. But yeah, that's a wrap. Peace.